All right. Welcome everyone to our internship discussion. I am not going to say anything right now until the end. I want to save this time for the students. So we're going to jump right in, and Justin is going to start us off.
All right, cool. Well, hello everyone. My name is Justin Cherrick, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my internship site, which is Northeast Arc. Ooh, hello. All right. So a little bit about the mission statement at Northeast Arc. They, as quoted
That's
off
cool.
the website, have it as the Northeast Arc helps people with disabilities become full participants in the community, choosing for themselves how to live, learn, work, socialize, and play. So Northeast Arc as like a company does a lot more than what my specific internship program does, but just in general, the company serves individuals with developmental disabilities of all ages and severities. They help thousands of individuals across over 150 towns in Massachusetts and provide services like early intervention, day services, residential programs, and a whole bunch of other stuff. They have like over 1,000 employees, and they are just a really, really big company. I myself work at what they call the STEP program, which consists of mainly young adults in probably about their mid 20s to early 30s. Everyone there, I think, is over 22, and you might have some older clients at like mid 40s, but they average like late 20s. But really, the goal of the STEP program is to work towards independence, and they do that in a whole bunch of different ways, whether it be workshops, day trips, job coaching, and just a whole bunch of activities that we do. On average, you'll probably be looking at about 18 clients a day, that like are a part of the group. Some days you'll have a little more, some days you'll have a little less, but it's probably about 18. And you have a mix of developmental disabilities there, whether that be like autism, Down syndrome, or just a whole bunch of other um, like people that need day support and could use a little help with independence. So the staff of the STEP program mainly consists of case managers who work with the group to facilitate program activities. They write daily notes and really just keep everything running. They're who I spend like 99% of the day with. They tell me on like a like minute to minute basis what to do. So they're like my go-to people. You also have job coaches who work individually with clients to address job-related topics. So like part of the STEP program is, like I said, getting them to be independent, but also trying to get them a little bit more out into the community and maybe getting them a job eventually if they're sort of able to handle that. So the job coaches will do that with them. But they also regularly fill in as extra help because, as you might hear, you'll hear a little bit later, but there are times when there's a little bit of short staffing. So the job coaches will pretty much just hang out and do what the case managers do on days when they need some extra help. Um, Kind of on the same wavelength as that, they also hire some third-party assistants sometimes to come in. So they'll have like occasionally have outside assistants come in as extra set of hands. And they're all cool people. Everybody there is really, really nice. But like I said, you're mainly working with case managers, and every once in a while you'll see some job coaches come in. My supervisor currently, her name is Terry Williams. She's a wonderful woman. She's currently the interim STEP program director. Um, when I was interviewing for this position, I was actually interviewed by a different director who left the company before I started. So that's was a little bit of a kerfuffle there. But Terry is currently running the program while they look for a new director. But Terry got her degree in psychology from UMass Lowell and specialized in developmental disabilities. She's been in the field for about 25 years and done everything from early intervention, job coachings, and job developing. But she was hired at Northeast Arc about 10 years ago and was actually the founder of the STEP program. So while she's not the main STEP program director, she certainly knows how to run it because, well, she founded it. The role of the intern. Really, the number one thing that you're going to be doing at the STEP program is socializing with the clients. That was pretty much the thing they said my first day when I talked to the case managers and was like, what should I do? They're like, really just go socialize and talk to the clients. But besides that, you assist them with any activities that they might be doing. Um, if you're there for a full day, they do have lunch there. So they have like a kitchen that you might have to go help out in and make sure everyone's, cleaning up after themselves and being safe. And also when it's time to leave, a lot of them have transportation. So a lot of times I will walk them to the front of the mall because it's located in the mall. I'll walk them from the facility to the front of the mall just to make sure they get to their transportation safely. Besides that, help supervise and run activities and day trips. Occasionally, I'll file some paperwork, but really the role is flexible. Terry, my supervisor, has been very vocal about making sure I'm learning what I want to learn. So if you ever want to do something else besides just sort of hanging out in the day room and um, socializing with the clients, they're definitely open to having you do some other more administrative things if you're interested in like learning how to do that. So why did I choose Northeast Arc? Mainly because they responded quickly. I'm going to be honest, looking for an internship for me was a little bit stressful. So I was just kind of happy that I got a response. And they responded quickly to me. Um, and the location was convenient. I'm a commuter student to Merrimack, and I live pretty close to the Liberty Tree Mall, so the location was really convenient for me. The clinical population aligned with my career goals as I plan on doing clinical work in the future. So working with people that have developmental disabilities was seemed like a really, really good fit to get some experience there. And the supervisor seemed really excited to have me as an intern, and they ensured that it would be a great learning experience. So yeah, during my interview, they were really just seemed pretty thrilled to have me, you know, come in and the prospect of me becoming an intern, which also made my decision a little bit easier about going with them. Some challenges I would say is a little bit of a lack of direction, which I would say is also a bit of a blessing and a curse. This internship, I'll say, is really sort of what you make of it. You have to be social and willing to socialize with the clients. But with that, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can be social and do a whole bunch of different things. So, um, it is really what you make of it and how much effort you want to put into getting to know the clients. At times there are some staffing shortages, which can lead to some challenging situations where you might be doing a little more than you expected on some days. With those staffing shortages, I'd say come some loosely planned activities, where, they might be planning to do some sort of day trip, but they just don't have enough people. When, if they decide to go on that trip anyway, it might be a little overwhelming, for you if you're expected to maybe do a little more, like I said, than you were expecting. But what I really enjoy about Northeast Arc so far is doing a lot of the fun activities. So far in the weeks I've been there, we've made our own ice cream, we've gone out to restaurants, we had a barbecue, we've watched movies. So you really just do a lot of fun stuff. The staff members are really, really friendly, and the work environment is pretty chill, I'd have to say. And everyone's really just having a good time and just trying to learn more about become more independent. There's a lot of opportunities to learn in many different ways. So with those sorts of activities, obviously, you're kind of going to see how these people with disabilities might act in a restaurant versus, at a park or watching a movie. So you kind of get the opportunity to sort of observe and interact with clients in more than just like a clinical sort of facility situation. But the main thing really is that the clients just are really, really cool. And it's just really been a lot of fun to get to know all of them. And I look forward to seeing them every time I go in. Um, and yeah, that's really what I enjoy most about it is just the clients. So yeah,
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks for starting us off. I appreciate it.
for
Uh,
sure.
Great. Thank you. All right, Kelly, you are up next.
All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. Hmm. All right. Can everyone see this okay?
Yes.
All right. So, my name is Callie Parkins, and I am interning at New Path. So, what is New Path? Well, for starters, it has a variety of different locations, all of which are in Massachusetts, but I am interning at the one in Westford, and their mission statement is that New Path helps people living with disabilities live with dignity, joy, and self-respect within their communities. So the types of clients at New Path, specifically in Westford, have a range of different disorders, but I've noticed a trend in which many of them have intellectual disabilities. And as it says here, they could be unable to feed themselves. They might not understand boundaries. They have difficulty managing negative emotions and operating around typical people. And what I mean by typical people is just people in your everyday lives, like you might see working at a grocery store, stuff like that. The staff, the types of positions that they have, these aren't all of them, but these are the ones that are at my specific location. So we have nurses, which take clients' weights, change clients, and take care of clients if injured. Sometimes clients may have accidents because, as stated previously, sometimes, don't really have the ability to regulate those parts of themselves. So sometimes they have to wear diapers and stuff like that, which obviously is out of their control. So we don't blame them for it or anything. If anything happens, we just take them to the nurses and then they figure themselves out and they get themselves cleaned up and they just come back. But other than that, the people that I'm around most often are rehabilitation specialists who work in day hab, which is where I am, and they help clients go about their everyday lives and they oversee clients and manage adverse behaviors. So, an example of an adverse behavior might be I'll give one that I've witnessed. There was a client that attacked a nurse by trying to scratch at her neck. And so the rehabilitation specialist had to step in and take the client away. We have a room that's called the sensory room, which I think is pretty self explanatory. Dim lights, calming music. They have sensory boards that the clients can play with. It just helps them relax and get back down to normal stable levels so they can go back in to the room that we most often frequent so they don't further hurt any staff or any other clients. And so my direct supervisor is Brian Kalman. He is the director of day services at New Path Westford. He has 25 plus years in human services and 20 years in staff and program management, which I find frankly very relieving because I learned recently that you don't need to have a degree to be employed in New Path Westford if you aren't applying to be a nurse. If you want to be a rehabilitation specialist, you don't need to have a specific degree to work there. You just need to have some sort of experience. And so my role consists of helping clients reach their goals, such as, for example, maybe a client may have a certain amount of water that they want to drink per day. And so I will help them drink that amount of water because, you know, this specific client may not be able to do it by themselves. So I will have to go and bring the water cup and fill it up and then just give it back to them around 3 or so times just to make sure they're staying hydrated. Another good example would be that another client has a goal of brushing her teeth once per day, which we have had some mishaps with that. Sometimes she has used the toilet to brush her teeth instead of the sink, but you know, as long as she brushes her teeth, we're proud of her. I also make sure that the clients are safe, making sure they're not wandering off without telling us where they're going, or you know, specifically certain clients may wander off. They don't tell you where they're going. You will have to follow them. That's kind of what they do. But if they're needed back in the room, if they're not allowed to wander around, I just take them and I bring them back. And I also feed clients, such as, certain clients that may be bound to wheelchairs, who may have cerebral palsy, or may just be unable to comprehend what they have in their lunchbox that day. So I will have to show them what they have and they will make the decision of what to eat. And I also help clean up. So I spray the tables with cleaner and I wipe them down. And I also go on outings with clients, which are not very exciting. Usually, the people who go on more exciting outings are those who are higher functioning and can understand where they're going. Sometimes, well, actually, more often than not, the outings we have would just be going to the parks. So we would go into the vans and we would go to different parks and then we'd have them walk around just so they can get a little bit more integrated into the community without having to face it head on. And the last thing would be that I play games and I also do crafts with clients. So just doing puzzles, checkers, doing like sand art, stuff like that with clients. So why did I choose New Path? I would say that my main thing would be proximity because from Merrimack, I'd say it's about 28 minutes away on a good day. So I'd say that's pretty good as opposed to having it be 1 hour away. I feel like that'd be a little extreme. And I also like having the ability to interact with clients who are lower functioning because unfortunately, the truth of our society is that a lot of the people who are lower functioning get shoved into corners and they aren't given the same opportunities that you or I might have. And I like being able to help those people integrate into society. And I talk to them a lot about jobs like, oh, would you want to do a job? Where would you want to work? And I just find that very rewarding because I get to see them grow and change their behaviors. Say, if they were a more difficult client, and I put difficult in heavy quotation marks, if they were more difficult, they may cause more adverse behaviors. They might not be considered for a job as much. And I get to see them slowly change and mature out of that. And I find that very rewarding. I also enjoy the diversity of the population, which I mean by there's many, as I mentioned previously, many different people with many different disorders. And I also like having the ability to travel with clients outside of the facility and seeing how they interact with other people. And I'd say some of my challenges are definitely witnessing adverse behaviors. As I mentioned previously, there was a client that attacked one of the nurses. I've also seen clients flip tables and throw things at staff and try to run away from them or try and take their clothes off and run around. I definitely say that was a big wake up call for me because I had never worked with anyone other than kids up to this point. So I would definitely say that was challenging for me. And also having to calm clients down after having adverse behaviors. I'm not very I'm not a very confrontational person, so I've been having to learn how to confront some of the clients that do know what they're doing and know that they shouldn't be doing the thing that they're doing. And so I'm just learning how to talk to them and be like, hey, that's not okay. Why are you doing that? We're going to have to go do this now, just to calm them down. And then also accidents. I briefly mentioned that earlier. I'm not going to get too much into it, but sometimes clients who don't wear diapers may have an accident in the room that we frequent. And so I'm not qualified to handle that. I if I was, I would having to be working there as an intern. I'm not able to help them with those sorts of things, but seeing it happen, obviously it's not a thing that anyone wants to witness. But aside from that, some things that I like are learning more about people with disabilities because, like I said before, a lot of people who are lower functioning get shoved off into a corner and forgotten about. And so I haven't had many experiences with people with disabilities up until this point. And I've realized that I actually like it a lot. And so I feel like it's opened new job avenues for me. And I feel like if I don't want to work with kids when I graduate school, maybe I could work in a day hab facility. And yeah, that's basically it.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Aliana, you are up next.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. All right, does that work?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. I went away for
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Aliana. I'm a current senior here at Merrimack studying psychology and sociology with a minor in religious theological studies. And my internship is here at Merrimack in the first year seminar office, located in the third floor of the library. And the Academic Success Center is on the third floor. I have weekly meetings in North Residential Village with my faculty member and my co-mentor for this course. And then we have weekly seminar meetings. For myself, it's 3 times a week, but for everyone else, it's once a week in Sullivan Hall. And then for the actual course, it's in Crow Hall for the actual FYS course. So their mission statement is to enlighten minds, engage hearts, and empower lives. And this was inspired by the Catholic faith and Augustinian tradition of seeking truth through inquiry and dialogue, which vision to help and prepare students, building a community, cultivating all of their awareness skills, encouraging people's supports, and just engaging within the educational institution. So the population that we work with are all the first years freshmen that come to Merrimack College alongside transfers from sophomore through senior year that attend Merrimack College. So the main team that we have is Andrea Wombalt. She is the director of first year experience. Then we have Dory Manson, professor of practice humanities and director of curriculum for the Austin Scholars Program. Then we have Justin Bowen, who is also working in the first year experience. And this is his first year not being a grad fellow because he was a grad fellow in the FYE team last year. The first year experience / seminar team fellows are Lauren Steed, and she is a grad fellow in the communications graduate program. We also work with Caitlin Southworth, and she is a fellow in the clinical mental health graduate program. Now for the coordinators, which is myself, Celia Cassiel, she's an education major, and then Anya Cunningham, who's a nursing major, also on the track and field team. Some of our coordinator / mentor responsibilities. As a coordinator, we do have to make sure that we go to every single seminar meeting throughout the week, and we're prepping the mentors for the week after so that they can know how to help their faculty member facilitate that class. As a mentor, we do go to class twice a week, either on Monday or Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we're helping the faculty member either telling students to get off their phones. We're having check-ins with them twice a semester. We're having a thing called Merrimack Confidentiality, where professors leave the classroom, leaving students and mentors in the room. They get to ask us anything that we need. And it's kind of like a great peer-to-peer aspect if they feel more comfortable with us talking, and we can relay that message back to our supervisors. Typical schedule. 11 hours is a base schedule. It could vary less or even more. Typically on Monday, I have my class, then my first seminar. Tuesdays, I have my mentor prep with my co-mentor, another seminar class. Wednesday is my FYS class alongside coordinator prep work. Sometimes I work on that to do little TikToks that I want to post on Instagram. They're like reels. We kind of ask mentors question of the week, and we want to incorporate student questions and then faculty questions. Thursday, we have the FYS faculty meeting prep. So that's myself, co-mentor, and a faculty member. We just work to coincide on how we're going to plan the next week. And then we have our first year seminar team meeting, which is all the fellows, coordinators, and the main team. And then Friday is just our seminar class. Why did I choose this internship? So I once was a first year experienced student, and Andrea was one of the 5 professors that I did have in my first year, and she's certainly seen me grow from being a shy first year student to now being a very outgoing senior student. My mentor in that class was really helpful. He was in my cohort as well. He was an athlete and alongside a communications major, and he really helped me push me outside of my comfort zone because this is a class where students take for like a Merrimack 101 and push students to just indulge in new things and grade themselves into the community. Some challenges with being a coordinator and a mentor could be sometimes not having a relationship with your co-mentor or faculty member. Sometimes that mesh isn't really working for one another. For example, like my faculty member, she no longer works here anymore just because of emergencies that she had, but we didn't really mesh properly. So we have a new faculty member and we love her. She takes all of our ideas in count. She is very like Zen person, like she's very heavy in mental health. So I really adore her a lot. And then another challenge could be having students that might not want to participate or getting involved. For example, I have a student who likes to, I would say, challenge a lot of things that we say. So if we're talking about some subject, he just wants us to go more in depth of what we mean on that topic sometimes. And when some kids are in that class, they could feel uncomfortable, but sometimes they don't. So it kind of depends on what the day is. What I like most about this role is just being able to see all my students and other mentors that I mentee, just their growth from like August to December, and also from January to May. A lot of my students that I had even 2 years ago when I first became a mentor, I sometimes have them as my residents right now. I was a TA for some of my students last year. And then as of right now, some of them are even mentors as well. So it's a great aspect where you're seeing them starting off as a first year, maybe not having that many friends, maybe not having that many involvements, and then seeing them by the end of December, they're like, oh my gosh, like I joined this club that we talked about. I got my first job. I swapped my major, everything of those. So it's a very fulfilling moment. And then here is just a picture of us at Move In trying to move in the first years.
Thank you. Great. All right. Andrew, you are up next.
Hello. Um, this.
And if you're having any trouble sharing, Lisa has the presentations. She's our backup presenter if you need it.
That can you see that?
Yeah.
Um, I'm Andrew Blake, and I volunteer at Lindor's Farms. Um, so the farm is around 38 acres itself, but it is also about 200 acres of preserved land. It was founded in 1964, and um, uh, it's owned by um, North Andover for the most part, and then about 38 acres of it are actually used for equestrian therapy. We have around 20 working horses that serve around 2 classes a week. We work with around 300 individuals per week. We serve both children and adults with special needs, um, 6 and up. Um, we um, serve people with a wide range of needs, um, such as ADHD, cerebral palsy, to brain injuries and things. Um, as an intern there, I am a sidewalker, so I walk around the classes, helping with whatever the riders would need and whatever the instructor would need. So helping them stay focused or doing the exercises that they're supposed to be doing. Um, but when there isn't classes, I often am doing the yard work. So I ride around on a gator to take out the trash and different things like that. I also mow the lawn or riding mower, which I think is pretty fun. Um, and that it's pretty different for every person that interns. Mostly we'll be working with the clients and horses, but they have a lot of different work that needs to get helped with. And here's some of our horses. Um, some of them are younger, some of them are older. Um, I think Opie is relatively new, and so is Navigator. Unfortunately, we did have to put down 2 horses at the beginning of this session. But then we have gotten 3 new horses since. Um, I enjoy the internship mostly because I was looking for something more physical, and that's exactly what it is. It's just walking around with horses and really getting to know uh, people with needs and learning how to help them best. Um, we see just a wide range of people, some more capable and some who need a little more assistance.
Great.
And that's what I got.
Great. Thank you. All right, Ashley.
Sorry, my screen froze. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Actually, does Professor Allen want to share it for me because I can't figure this out, if she doesn't mind.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Katie?
Yeah.
Where is my share screen?
It should be at the very bottom, but you know what I'll
Oh, I
do?
found it. I found it.
See if I
Good.
have to do a co-host. So, okay, awesome.
Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. I've got I hate to say it, but a big emergency, like triangular sign. I don't know what's happening.
Let's see if I don't know if it makes any difference if I make you a co-host. We can try that.
Okay. Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh,
Oh, can you see my screen now?
Oh,
yeah.
oh, okay. I don't know I guess we're.
It's me. I'm sorry. Okay, we got
Okay,
it.
good.
Don't
Great.
mind me. Okay. How is this? Can everyone see it? Okay. Hi, so I'm Ashley, and I'm currently interning at St. Anne's Home and School. For the location and overview, the main campus is located in Methuen at 100A Haverhill Street. And then there are two group homes. One is a boys group home, and then the other is a girls group home located in Lawrence on Haverhill Street and Broadway Street in Methuen. So we have staff that go to all locations, including the main building and the two group homes. So, our mission statement is to support, nurture, rehabilitate, educate, and advocate for children, adolescents, and young adults who are faced with serious emotional, behavioral, and mental health challenges and learning disabilities. So, I highlighted four of the most important ones I thought was to support, rehabilitate, educate, and advocate. That is just a picture of the front door. It's a little intimidating, but it's not as scary inside, I promise. So for some of the programs that we have residential, which is kids who live on site. We have the educational program where residents and non-residents can also take part in the education system that we have. So some of our residents also do go to public school, and then some kids from the public can come to us for educational needs because we offer programs to help with certain learning disabilities and other financial situations they might have. We also have outpatient services where we meet kids where they are at. A lot of that can be with therapy, family therapy. It's more so just another program to help kids. We have CBAT in our TCU, which is community-based acute treatment program. And a lot of the times, those kids are here for like a short period of time, or they come from the public who are there just to participate in like a 3-month program just to help get themselves back on track. And then the transitional care unit, I don't know too much about. I haven't learned much of it, but it's more so to transition kids back out into the public so that they can go home to their families or other foster families that have adopted them. My supervisor, her name is Vonda. That picture, that's not Vonda, I promise. That's just the unit I live on. Not live on, I work on it, and that's one of the staff members. But Vonda has worked for St. Anne's for over 20 years and is the unit director for the Harmony unit that I am on. Her goals are to help residents develop proper coping skills to help manage difficult situations and set them up to be successful and productive members of society. She hosts group therapy on Wednesdays for all the girls to participate in to help with coping skills and learning how to be productive members of society because they don't really have family figures in their lives that are here to teach them. So that's Fonda's role, and that's also part of my role. Speaking of roles, I am required as an intern to work 20 hours weekly. It can't be any more. Well, it can be more if I want, but it can't be any less than that. I'm on the unit to help manage activities like Just Dance. We do crafts. Sometimes we bake. Other times we'll take them out to the playground. We also go on group activities. We have our own unit van where we can take the kids to Canopy. I took them there the other day, a few weekends ago. and we had a good time where we went on the rides and it was the fright night. I also direct residents to use proper coping strategies because a lot of them do have behavioral management issues and they do need help. Like if they get frustrated, they don't know how to handle it, and they can get very aggressive and it can be very scary, but we help calm them down so that they don't have to leave the unit. I also assist them with daily living routines. I advocate for their needs as well because a lot of these girls are under the care of us and VCF. They don't have families to go to at the end of the day. Some of their families might not even reach out, so they ultimately don't have anyone but the staff members on their unit. I try to keep it tidy and organized. I clean up after dinner. Some of the girls do help me. I do night logs, which is basically a recap of the girls' days. It's a legal document that can be used in court settings, so we have to write it in a very specific way. And then we also file other paperwork, just more so for the night logs. Some of the staff roles that we do have at St. Anne's is the child care counselor, which is what I am. We have my unit director, who's Vonda, who's also my supervisor. We have the assistant unit director, and they work together. So basically, those two people are my point people. We have therapists and psychiatrists that we meet with every single Thursday for 3 hours to discuss every kid, medications they're on, different routes we can take, what's going on with DCF, their family. So it's a lot of insight on the kids, and it also gives insight on the therapeutic side and the psychiatrist side. We also have BMCs, which is the behavioral, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, behavior management counselor. So these people are the ones who come up to the unit if girls are being aggressive or putting themselves and other people at risk. We call them up to ultimately escort them off of the unit so that they can spend some time in the CSC, which is where they go to calm down. And some of them do end up using their programs, and the programs are designed to help them manage their anger and some of their behavioral issues. Why did I choose St. Anne's? They have very flexible hours and they are open 24 hours every single day. So there's always a shift that can be taken. There's overnights, there's split shifts, there's longer shifts. You can honestly do whatever you want. If you want to bang out all 20 hours in one, you can. You can do a 24-hour shift and then boom, you're done. It's really good experience. They offer future job opportunities too. A lot of internships have been offered full-time jobs there. Some of them have gone into therapy there. It's also a paid internship. It gives you legal experience with DCF, the night logs, and consistency is actually key there and is very consistent with routines. Keep the girls on track, keep yourself on track. They try to give you a set schedule that doesn't change unless something changes in your schedule. And it's actually pretty close to school. It's only like a 10-15 minute drive. Some of the challenges I did face was onboarding. It was a very long process. I had to get background checked because I will be working with kids, so they just want to make sure that you are not a concern for the kids. And since I'm from New Hampshire, it was a double process, so I had to get background checked in New Hampshire and in Mass. And then another thing was there's a lot of trainings that you have to go through, like hours, 8-hour days. But at the end of the day, it's honestly all worth it. And then another thing that was difficult was building relationships because the residents do have trauma. Some of them have been abused, some of them have been neglected, and it's hard for them to accept new people. It's a new environment for you, and you're ultimately walking into their own home. It can be an intense atmosphere because, again, they do get very aggressive and aggravated easily, and they have no problems telling you how they feel. And it can also be very emotional because you see, like, some parents aren't present. Kids want their parents to be, but they're not. Some don't have parents, and it's just very sad because they just want to go home, but ultimately sometimes they can't. So you have to be there to try to pick them up, help them cope, and try to see the brighter side. And what I like most about working at St. Anne's is it's very engaging. I am always kept on my toes. I never know what any of the girls are going to be doing. I get to do honestly any sort of activity I want with the kids. I just have to run it by my supervisor. Um, We go on field trips, and I'm always learning something new about the kids and the inside perspective of what goes on the like outside with DCF and like all that jazz. The age group that I work with are ages 5 to 13. So I like that because they're on the younger side. They're like kind of cute and cuddly and they're not like closer to my age. I just felt it would have been harder to deal with girls my age-ish because they know how to get under your skin. Um, and then I don't like that they have trauma, but like it's cool to see how like trauma affects certain girls and what you need to do to help them cope. And I like the flexibility they give me. The hours are flexible and the staff are very understanding about things that come up and anyone is willing to like pick up your shift if you need. And that is it.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. And last but not least, Carrie. There you go.
Can everyone see this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Carrie. For my fall internship, I'm working at the Merrimack College Scan Lab. So, the Scan Lab is the Social Cognition and Affective Neuroscience Lab. So, it's located on campus in the psychology department in O'Reilly Hall in the basement. So, our mission statement, our research broadly examines the mechanisms by which behaviors, emotions, and memories can be altered by our past experiences or external/internal factors and can be improved by interventions. So currently we're running 4 studies within our lab. We have the reset and impact study, which the hypothesis for this is, does mild traumatic brain injury, which is a concussion, affect your ability to control emotions? Next, we have our risk lab, which is how can sleep affect stress and risk-taking behaviors? Then we have our Inspire lab, which is can altering your breathing pattern to make it slower and purposeful affect your ability to regulate emotions. And Mind study, which is the one I work on, is can you choose what you remember and what you forget? So the research team, Dr. Allison Sidechek and Dr. Laura Kurtzel run the Scan Lab. I'll talk more about them. So I work directly under Dr. Kurtzel within the lab. She's the co-principal investigator of the Scan Lab, and she's the principal investigator of the Lumos Lab, which is what we use to conduct the research. And she's the supervisor for research assistants within the studies running, so that would include myself. So right here, there's 11 of us that work on the research studies. There's about 4 of us that are research leads, including myself. So a role as an intern, I am currently a lead research assistant within the Mind study, which means I facilitate testing just as all the other research assistants do. But as a lead, I do train new research assistants on protocols and procedures within the research model. So at the beginning of every year, we submit a paper to the IRB to get it approved so we can run our research on campus. And I go through that with them and teach them how to do it. To the right, there's 2 pictures. So that's the reset and impact study. So we use an EEG cap, which is the top photo, that tracks your brain waves and your electrons. And on the bottom is our eye tracker, which, right as it says, it tracks your eye movements. So why did I choose this internship location? So I chose this because I have a really big interest in research. And I have a really great connection with Dr. Kurtzel. So I did the directed research course last semester, so the spring of 2024, just as a course, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was something I found passion in, and it was like a really great opportunity to learn more about sleep and how you remember and forget things based on their emotions. So I thought I wanted to dive deeper into that. I also like the leadership role within a lab. So because I did do it the semester prior, I was able to step into this leadership role and start to teach new research assistants and everything like that on how to do the research. So I found that really intriguing. So some challenges in the internship, some meeting required hours. So because we do record our hours based on when participants come in, we do have to get a lot of participants. So typically our participants run about 30 minutes. So getting enough participants to reach those hours, which also runs into the second challenge, which is recruitment of participants. So we do recruit students across Merrimack campus, but most students are psychology students who use SONA and they get their credits through SONA. So we are recruiting mostly psychology students, but we are looking to recruit older adults over the age of 65 as well for some of our studies, which is super cool because we're working on flyering and everything like that, just to get more people to come in. And then data collection. So with any research study, there's always mishaps within data collection, whether that's people not showing up, different like variations of human error that go into research. So I found that like when I started doing this as an internship, I noticed those small things a little bit more, and it was super intriguing to me how the difference between someone not showing up for their first session versus second session, or um, whether that be if they didn't wear their sleep headband that tracks their brain waves at night, if they're part of our sleep group. Super interesting to look at all those different ways that that challenges our research. What do I like most about my internship so far? So this semester, I've really been looking more into the collection of the valuable data. So looking at compiling all those results. Um, Towards the end of the semester, I will be working with Dr. Kurtzel directly to compile this data so that in the spring semester, we can present it at a conference, which is super exciting. Um, Also, I love having the ability to add to the Scan Lab publications. So there is a website for the Scan Lab, and at the bottom, they publish all their research, which is super cool. The Scan Lab isn't super old, so there's not a lot of stuff that's been published. There is for a very small lab, but I'm so grateful and I love being able to help be able to publish to that and have my name on a paper that I helped out with the research, which is super awesome. And then here I just added the website for the Scan Lab. So if anyone's interested in what we're doing or wants to sign up, we would love that. We need more participants. Um, and you can get credit for class if you're a psychology student. But yeah, that's all for me.
Great, thank you. Okay, great. So now that we've heard from all of you, I would love to ask just a couple of questions because I like to get some advice from students currently doing internship for students who are looking at internships or starting the internship process. Is there anything you would tell them to do, not do, think about as they're kind of starting that process? Aliana, yeah, go ahead.
I would definitely say, like, if you're on the fence of like what you want to do in your future, try going for an internship because like this could either show you what you really want to go into or show you like, oh, I never thought about this and like this is what I want to do, or this is exactly not what I want to do. So kind of gives you those experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, Carrie.
I would say apply for that internship that you didn't think you were gonna like do. This is my second internship that I did, and I think that like being able to apply to different ones. Over the summer, I work with kids, so it's like super different. So being able to like, have multiple and apply to different things, it'll help you in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that variety of experience is really important. Anybody else? Anything that they would share, advice, thoughts on the process, or even about balancing school and internship, and how to kind of do that successfully? I don't know if anyone has any ideas on that.
Yeah, so I will say that the process is definitely very intimidating. There are a lot of different paths that you can go down, but it doesn't hurt to try to like narrow it down to what you think you might want to do. I know I turned to you for some help with options, and honestly, all I did was I applied to every single one I found interest in, and then I really just evaluated. Like I did the interviews and I got a read on how the interview went. Don't be intimidated by the process and go with your gut because if you really don't care for it, you don't have to do it again. It's just for the experience and it's just to like get you out there. And it's also very good networking. If you know someone, someone always knows someone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that because I think that's an important thing to think about is it's a short-term experience, so you might as well try something different and try something maybe you weren't sure about. And it is a great experience to network and get to know people. And you're right, everybody's connected and they can help you get to that next level, which is really great. Um, so I was trying to write some things down as you were all talking because there were some great points that you are making. And um I think that, people are doing all sorts of things that contribute to the organization, even if they seem like small. You're doing these things that really help make the organization run smoothly or make your place work smoothly. And I think you're also finding new options. Some of you said, this might not have been the population or the location you had thought about initially, but this is now a population you're thinking could be potentially a great fit for you. Um, so I think that that's really, really cool. I feel like that's something that really opens up doors and just helps you think about different things, and just different interests, which is really, really great. Um, any last sort of thoughts on doing an internship or anything that's been like a favorite experience that you'll kind of take with you after you leave your internship that you want to share before we end?
I definitely say my big thing is that I remember talking in my presentation about how I only ever worked with kids. I've never worked with adults with disabilities, but I would say definitely go for the internship that you don't think you're going to be good at, because if you have a passion for it, you'll be able to figure yourself out.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. And I've seen that with so many students that just take a chance, work with a site, and decide that, you know what, this is something now that I'm going to try, and it ends up being really valuable. So I think that's so great. Um, and it might have been you, Justin, that said something earlier on about kind of it is sort of what you make of it. And that's really true for every experience. You only are going to get out what you put in. And at some sites, you're going to have to be a little bit more proactive to get the things you need. So I think it's also really good practice because that's not going to go away. You're going to have to do that at every job and every experience. And the more you learn to advocate for what you need and what you want out of experience, the better. So you're getting some of that right now, which is really great. So anything else before we close? All right. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciate you sharing your experiences. And I know that everyone who watches will definitely appreciate hearing from you as well.